Story intro. My whole family thought I was a foolish daughter, completely unaware that my father was having an affair and planning to murder our entire family. But little did they know I had been reborn back to that fateful day. This time, with my own hands, I will make the mistress and my precious father pay a heavy price. After my rebirth, my entire family could hear my inner thoughts. Should I tell Mom that her darling adopted daughter is actually Dad's illegitimate child? I watched Mom hold the illegitimate girl's hand, then suddenly flinch.
Maybe I should not tell my second brother
that Dad deliberately raised him to be completely useless. I glanced at my gaming-addicted brother, whose phone suddenly seemed to burn his hands. If my eldest brother found out Dad hired the guy who ran over his legs, would not he be absolutely devastated? I looked at my eldest brother in his wheelchair, and literal steam seemed to be puffing from his hair.
I am so conflicted.
If they realized Dad orchestrated all this just to marry his childhood sweetheart, won't this family completely fall apart? I noticed the way my family looked at Dad had completely changed. I have been reborn, brought straight back to the day Dad brought Lin Rambutan home to adopt her. Ah, the classic rebirth trope time to rewrite this short drama script.
Rambutan.
Hurry up and call her Mom. Lin Rambutan's whole body was trembling, like a frightened little bird. On her supposedly accidentally exposed arm, whip marks were clearly visible. It made Mom instantly feel pity at first sight, and she treated her like her own flesh and blood ever since. She even treated her better than me, terrified of wronging her in any way. Just as Mom reached out to take Lin Rambutan's hand, what should I do? Should I tell Mom? Lin Rambutan is actually Dad's illegitimate daughter. I saw Mom, who was holding Lin Rambutan's hand, noticeably flinch. She looked left and right, and finally locked eyes with me. I just blinked, staring back at her with a face full of innocence. Mom furrowed her brows, probably thinking she was having auditory hallucinations. Next up, Lin Rambutan is going to throw herself into Mom's arms and wail pitifully, thereby winning all of Mom's sympathy. The very next second, I watched as Lin Rambutan practically dove into Mom's embrace and started bawling her eyes out, yet her gaze stayed fixed right on me. Manga, were you just speaking?
Nope.
I can't let Mom know I have been reborn. She would definitely look at me like I am some kind of monster. Mom's eyes widened as big as saucers, utterly and totally bewildered. At this moment, I muttered silently in my heart. In a minute, Lin Rambutan is going to throw herself down the stairs and claim I pushed her. Lo and behold, halfway up the stairs with me, Lin Rambutan suddenly tumbled right down the steps. Dad was the first to rush over and scoop Lin Rambutan into his arms.
Rambutan.
What happened to you?
Do not blame Mangosteen. My foot slipped and I fell down the stairs by accident. Oh, please. This framing technique is so painfully basic for our localization standards. Rambutan is your sister now.
How could you target her like this?
Have we spoiled you too much since you were little? Is there no wicked thing you would not do? Mom walked over right then, clearly nowhere near as frantic as Dad.
Mom.
Please do not scold Mangosteen. I know she just can't accept my arrival right away. She was the only daughter in the house before. After all, I completely understand. In my past life, this was exactly how Lin Rambutan operated, successfully making Mom heavily biased against me. Oh no, Mom and Dad are going to yell at me again.
No matter how I explain, they won't listen.
I would better just keep my mouth shut. I noticed the way Mom was looking at me was tinged with guilt and sorrow.
Slap.
Mom swung a vicious backhand squarely across Lin Rambutan's face. It completely stupefied her. I saw Dad frozen to the spot as well, utterly failing to process what just happened. I saw everything very clearly just now. You threw yourself down those stairs, and you actually dared to frame Mangosteen. No wonder you got returned after being adopted before. There is always something detestable about a pathetic person. Mom dropping absolute fire, no yandere required to spice up this scene. Adopting Lin Rambutan
Was entirely Dad's idea, of course.
Dad claimed he saw a pitiful little girl while doing charity work at the orphanage, could not bear it, and wanted to bring her home. He argued that since I was the only girl in the house, bringing her back would give me a companion. Mom could not withstand Dad's relentless pestering, and finally agreed. Dad and Lin Rambutan had prepared everything so thoroughly. Yet, they never expected their cover to be blown on day own. Lin Rambutan was so terrified by Mom that she froze, leaving her no choice but to shoot Dad a pleading look. Rambutan has been abused before and lacks a sense of security, so she might be a bit delusional about certain things. It is all just a misunderstanding. Look at you, making a mountain out of a molehill.
Do not scare the child.
Just as Mom was gearing up to expose Dad's scheme, she suddenly heard my inner voice again. If she exposes Dad right now, not only will he deny it tooth and nail, but it will also alert the enemy. After all, Dad holds a ton of shares in the corporate group right now. Aha, the classic corporate power struggle plot kicks into gear. Mom froze for a second. I continued speaking in my mind. My two brothers would definitely take Dad's side too. Dad usually plays the doting father while Mom is the strict one. If things really blew up, my brothers might actually help Dad. Mom fell silent. She probably figured my logic was sound. She forced her temper down and coldly told Dad and Lynn Rambutan, "I do not want to see this kind of incident happen ever again." Lynn Rambutan nodded obediently, still maintaining her pitiful, innocent facade. "Mrs. Wu, take her to her room." Mrs. Wu hurriedly escorted Lynn Rambutan upstairs. Dad had originally intended to explain things further to Mom, aiming, of course, to get Mom to accept and love Lynn Rambutan faster. But this time, Mom grabbed my hand and walked right past Dad without so much as a backward glance. Dad stared at Mom's retreating back in utter bewilderment. Usually, all he had to do was coax her a little, and Mom would be all smiles. Why was she suddenly giving him the cold shoulder? I threw a look back at his dumbfounded expression and could not hold back a chilly little smirk. He had no idea yet. His good days were officially over. Mom brought me back to my room. She looked at me with intense seriousness. "Manga, tell Mom the truth. Do you know something? Something about your father."
I do not know anything, I said.
While adding in my heart,
I can't tell her.
"If I do, Mom will be so disappointed. In my past life, I found out Dad was seeing some lady, but when I told Mom, she said I was too young to be spreading rumors. Mom also said I lacked compassion, claiming I just wanted to stir up trouble because Dad doted on Rambutan a bit more."
I am so scared Mom won't love me anymore.
I watched tears instantly well up in Mom's eyes, her face brimming with heartache and guilt. "Manga,
You are Mom's daughter.
Mom loves you the most in this entire world."
I love Mom the most too.
I was genuinely touched and threw myself into her arms. Mom did not force me to say anything else. But after that day, I could clearly feel Mom distancing herself from Dad and Lynn Rambutan. Whenever Lynn Rambutan tried to suck up to Mom, Mom acted like she was invisible. When Dad tried to kiss up to her, she barely acknowledged his existence. Mom rarely used to go to the company, but lately, she would been heading into the office frequently. I could see Dad and Lynn Rambutan getting antsy. After dinner, they hid in a corner and whispered, "Dad, did not you say that woman was easy to please? But no matter what I do, she is freezing cold to me. Why is this happening?
I do not know what is going on either.
She is like a completely different person.
Maybe she is hitting menopause.
Her temper is terrible. Just ignore her for now. Your second brother is coming home for winter break tomorrow. He is as dumb as a rock.
Win him over first.
You need to usurp Song Mangostein's position in this house as soon as possible. Once you become the family favorite, snatching this family's fortune will be a piece of cake. Then we can bring your mom here to enjoy the good life. Do not worry, Dad. Song Mangostein is just an idiot raised in a greenhouse."
How could she possibly be my match? Oh, honey, the villain dialogue is so generic. Gotta elevate the script next time.
I will have the whole family wrapping around my finger in no time. That was exactly how it went in my past life. Not only was I completely defenseless against Lynn Rambutan, but thanks to Dad's brainwashing, I treated her like my own biological sister. Yet she schemed against me and framed me at every turn, making the whole family believe I was entirely selfish. In the end, they only doted on her. But in this lifetime, her luck has officially run out. The next day at noon, my second brother, Song Durian, came home for winter break. He was a 200-pound giant who practically never exercised. He only loved shoving junk food down his throat. He did not study either, spending all his days playing video games. Even his university admission was bought with our family's money. In the eyes of outsiders, my second brother was the definition of a total loser. Mom never imagined my second brother would turn out like this, but back then, she poured far too much energy into my eldest brother's education. Dad was primarily in charge of my second brother. Dad always told him that since his eldest brother was holding up the sky for the family, he just needed to be a carefree, filthy rich second-generation heir. Gradually, my second brother lost all sense of ambition. All he knew was how to eat and wait around to die. Second brother. Lynn Rambutan was the first to rush forward and greet him. She leaned in close to his ear and whispered, "Dad told me your favorites are potato chips, fried chicken, spicy strips, and instant ramen. I bought them all early and stocked your room. I even got the cola you like. Just do not tell Mom." I caught the gleam of pleasant surprise in my second brother's eyes. Mom absolutely forbade those things in the house. Every time he came home, she would inspect his luggage, giving him absolutely zero chance to sneak that food in. In the past, Dad used to buy it for him secretly. Now, Lin Rambutan had taken over the job. I could clearly sense my second brother's affection for Lin Rambutan skyrocketing in an instant. That is, until he heard my inner voice, watching the cozy scene between my second brother and Lin Rambutan.
I pouted.
Second brother is already so overweight, yet he still wants to stuff his face with junk food. Does he really want to be an obese shut-in for the rest of his life? I watched my second brother's fleshy, grinning face freeze solid. He turned his head, locked his eyes on me, and stared. Even a 3-year-old knows eating too much junk food is bad for you.
Has he seriously never wondered?
Why Dad and Lin Rambutan keep feeding him this garbage? What did you say? He demanded. I did not say anything. My second brother looked a bit baffled, because he really had not seen my mouth move. Yet he distinctly heard my voice. Still, I probably should not tell second brother that Dad is intentionally trying to ruin his life. My second brother's eyes widened in sheer shock. I continued in my mind, but second brother is genuinely going to get esophageal cancer from all that junk food. And in the end, he will wither away to nothing but skin and bones. My second brother's eyes bugged out completely. Staring at me in utter disbelief, I spun around and just walked away, thinking as I went, let second brother get cozy with Dad and Lin Rambutan. Now that he has Lin Rambutan anyway, he won't love me anymore. Mangosteen, what is up, second brother? He hesitated for a second. I brought a present for you. I slowly shuffled back over. My second brother handed me an anime figurine. Do you like it?
Yeah.
He is treating me so well now. I mumbled internally, but it won't be long before he only treats Lin Rambutan well. Even this figurine will end up getting snatched away by her in the end.
How could that happen?
This is a gift from your second brother to you.
Wow.
It is so pretty. I have never seen such an exquisite figurine in my entire life. It looks so real.
Mangosteen is so lucky.
Second brother treats you so well. If I could have a beautiful figurine like this to sleep next to, I would definitely be the happiest girl in the world. A masterclass in passive-aggressive guilt tripping. Truly. In my past life, Lin Rambutan used this exact facade of naive innocence and pitiful yearning to guilt trip my second brother into generously telling me to give her the figurine.
He promised he would buy me another own to make up for it.
In reality, my second brother never bought me a damn thing ever again. So this time around, I shoved the figurine directly at Lin Rambutan. Since you like it so much, just take it. Even if I did not give it to her, second brother would just pressure me into it anyway. I do not want to put him in a tough spot.
Really?
Thank you, Mangosteen. Lin Rambutan is going to purposely drop the figurine on the floor and then falsely accuse me of smashing it. The moment I placed the figurine in her hands and let go, the figurine immediately plummeted to the floor. The sharp sound of shattering ceramic echoed through the room, accompanied instantly by Lin Rambutan's hysterical sobbing.
Such a beautiful figurine. How could it shatter like this?
I have dreamed of having something like this since I was little. Even if you did not want to give it to me,
You should not have smashed it.
second brother. Please do not blame Mangosteen. I am sure she did not do it on purpose. Why on earth would I blame Mangosteen? My second brother looked completely baffled. The way he looked at Lin Rambutan was now dripping with pure disgust. Lin Rambutan looked incredibly awkward and also visibly confused. She had calculated that this was the exact moment second brother would scold me, calling me petty. She absolutely did not expect him to hit her back with that question, totally throwing off the lines she had prepared to say. You failed to catch the figurine, so it is your fault. If anyone is to blame, it is you. Why would I blame Mangosteen? It was when Mangosteen handed it to me, she purposely threw it on the floor. Lin Rambutan explained meekly. She then quickly added with feigned magnanimity, it is fine.
I won't hold it against her.
You won't hold it against her. What gives you the right to hold anything against anyone? You make a mistake, show zero remorse, and then try to sow discord between us. What kind of twisted agenda do you have? Lin Rambutan's face flushed bright red from my second brother's tongue lashing. Who told you to come to my house? Get out. Crawl right back to wherever you came from. This family does not welcome you. My second brother looked ready to physically drag Lin Rambutan out. Lin Rambutan was so terrified she started wailing loudly. Dad had originally intended to give Lin Rambutan plenty of space to suck up to my second brother, so he had purposely stayed out of the living room. Mom had gone to the company and was not back yet either. Right then, hearing the commotion, Dad hurried out. What is going on here? Song Durian.
How could you treat your sister like this?
My second brother roared back at Dad. She is not my sister.
Mangosteen is my only sister.
You brought her back, did not you? Then sent her away immediately. What kind of nonsense are you spouting? Rambutan came to our home, which means she is a part of this family.
How can you be so old yet so incredibly immature?
Dad scolded, pulling Lin Rambutan over to his side. And to think your sister even prepared snacks for you, risking getting caught by your mom just to buy them for you. I can't believe you're this ungrateful. When Dad mentioned the snacks, I saw my second brother's fury hit boiling point. I saw my second brother get so furious. The blood rushed straight to his head, the very moment he was about to start screaming at Dad. Suddenly heard my inner thoughts again. If I were second brother, I would not argue with Dad right now. It is useless to argue anyway. Dad brought Lin Rambutan home just to steal our family fortune. At a time like this, second brothers should be striving to improve and turning over a new leaf. Catching Dad completely off guard in the end, my second brother paused. The words on the tip of his tongue were swallowed back down. Anyway,
Mangosteen is my only sister.
saying this, my second brother grabbed my hand and walked away, leaving Dad and Lin Rambutan staring at each other, looking completely clueless. They just could not figure out why our whole family had suddenly gotten so smart, why they could not fool us anymore. Back in my second brother's room, he angrily threw away all the snacks Lin Rambutan had prepared. As if he just remembered something else, he uninstalled all the games on his phone too. After doing all that, he suddenly looked at me and asked seriously, Mangosteen, did I disappoint you a lot in the past?
No.
I know second brother is the best. In my heart, I did not forget to add, second brother was just tricked by Dad, that is all. I know he is really smart, and he will definitely become an outstanding person in the future. My second brother smiled, looking a bit touched. Mangosteen, second brother will definitely work hard to be an outstanding person from now on. I won't let anyone bully you ever again. Okay, I believe in you, second brother. The first thing my second brother did after returning home was go to the hospital for a full body checkup. Translator's note, health is wealth even in a drama. Then he hired a personal trainer and set up a weight loss plan, besides losing weight. My second brother picked up his books again. He hired tutors and started cramming to catch up all the way from elementary school material. He spent the entire winter break studying and working out. This completely dumbfounded Dad and Lin Rambutan. Even though they had not actually done anything yet, why had Mom and my second brother changed so much? Ever since Lin Rambutan arrived, Mom originally never went to the company, leaving all corporate affairs for Dad to handle. Dad was this close to winning over everyone at the company and becoming the true power holder, but as soon as Mom showed up at the office, all those wavering shareholders and top executives suddenly stopped buying Dad's act. Dad was so furious he could cough up blood. I heard him secretly talking to Lin Rambutan again. This time, he was clearly more dissatisfied with her.
What is wrong with you?
Did not I bring you here to suck up to the people in this house?
How did you manage to make a total mess of things instead?
This is straying further and further from my plan.
How am I supposed to bring your mother here to enjoy a life of luxury now?
I do not know either.
I did everything exactly as you taught me, but none of them believed me. Dad had no idea where the chain broke either. Your eldest brother is coming home for the new year soon. He trusts me the most, and he is the most grateful to me. Forget about the others, they won't amount to anything anyway. Your eldest brother is the designated heir to this family. Understood. I will definitely perform well this time. I will absolutely make him like me. Deep down, she was probably feeling quite bitter. She truly believed she was better than me at everything. Better at reading the room, better at showing off. So how could she fail to win the whole family's affection? In my past life, when Dad threw me off the rooftop, she had mocked me with such arrogance, claiming she only needed to lift a single finger to make me lose absolutely everything.
Ah, classic evil stepsister monologue.
So dramatic. Back then, when I accidentally fell from the roof and died on the spot, Mom and my two brothers were actually deeply devastated. But it was not long before. They were completely bewitched by Lin Rambutan's sugar-coated bullets. And shortly after that, all of them were entirely wiped out by Dad and Lin Rambutan. Thinking about everything that happened in my past life, I clenched my jaw. This time around, it is time for Dad and Lin Rambutan to get their karma. A week before the new year, my eldest brother, Song Dragonfruit, returned from recovering abroad. Half a year ago, his car's brakes suddenly failed, leading to a terrible accident. That day, Mom and I were traveling overseas, and my second brother was gaming at home. Dad was the first own to rush over and save my eldest brother. Rumor had it that the rain was pouring down heavily. The road had collapsed, and the ambulance could not reach the scene immediately. It was Dad who carried my brother on his back for several kilometers to finally get him into an ambulance. The entire ordeal was recorded by a passing pedestrian. Everyone was praising the greatness of a father's love, and our whole family's affection for Dad deepened. But the truth was, Dad was the one who hired someone to tamper with the car. Because my eldest brother was the family heir, Dad wanted to force him offline early. If my eldest brother was gone, and my second brother was just a useless bum,
I would be the only Oan left.
in Dad's mind, I was extremely easy to deal with. He just needed Lin Rambutan to take my place. That way, the family business would naturally fall right into the pockets of their father-daughter duo. But unexpectedly, my brother did not die on the spot. Dad did not want to save him originally, but since a passerby was filming, he had no choice. He could only put on this whole tragic play. My brother was rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment, and in the end, he survived. But his legs were paralyzed. Dad suggested my brother go abroad for continued treatment, claiming the medical equipment overseas was more advanced and would aid his recovery. He even proactively contacted the best private hospital for him. The result was exactly as you would expect. Half a year went by, and my brother's legs had not improved even a tiny bit.
Eldest brother.
You are finally back. I have been dying to meet you. Lin Rambutan ran up to my eldest brother, smiling like a social butterfly. I have heard Dad talk about you all the time, saying you are mature, steady, and incredibly handsome. But seeing is believing. You are even younger and better looking than I imagined. Due to his paralyzed legs, my brother had lost all his confidence and even became somewhat withdrawn. For a while, Mom and I frequently flew abroad to see him. But he always kicked us out. He did not want to see anyone. The only person he would see was Dad. Eventually, we did not even dare to visit him anymore. Now, with Lin Rambutan being so forward, it clearly made my eldest brother a bit uncomfortable. Yet, he seemed unable to resist her enthusiasm. Her eyes were brimming with pure joy at seeing him.
Eldest brother.
Are you tired from such a long flight? Let me massage your back for you. Saying that, she eagerly started pounding on his back. She kept asking,
Eldest brother.
Does that feel good? I knew you were coming back.
So I specifically went and learned massage. The masseuse even taught me how to massage legs to improve blood circulation.
Now that you're back,
I will massage you every single day. Okay, wow. Laying it on a bit thick are not we.
I saw my eldest brother look a little awkward, but in the end, he gladly accepted it. This time I did not project any inner thoughts.
Let Lin Rambutan gloat for now.
As the saying goes, the higher you climb, the harder you fall. If I do not give them a taste of sweetness first,
how will I drive them to desperation later?
After that, Lin Rambutan quickly won over my eldest brother. Originally full of self-doubt, ever since she was accepted by my eldest brother, she strutted around like a peacock showing off its feathers. She became incredibly active around the house. Dad was also very relieved. The daughter he had painstakingly groomed for so many years.
How could she be completely useless? How could she possibly fail to outshine me?
Therefore, they started breaking out their ultimate moves. Lin Rambutan's 15th birthday was scheduled 2 days before the new year. Dad started making arrangements to throw a grand birthday party for her at home. He invited all the relatives and friends of the family, essentially, officially introducing her to everyone. So, on Lin Rambutan's actual birthday, the house was packed with people. Dad practically invited every important relative and friend over for her party. The massive villa was bustling with extraordinary noise and excitement. Lin Rambutan was wearing a beautiful pink dress. Trailing right beside Dad, Dad enthusiastically introduced her to everyone all night long. Mom could not stand it, made an excuse about being busy and retreated to her room. My second brother did not even bother coming downstairs, using the excuse that he had to study. Only my eldest brother, Song Dragonfruit, someone who had not socialized at all since his accident, actually showed up in the main hall just for Lin Rambutan. Lin Rambutan did a lap with Dad, and then appeared right in front of me. I just so happened to be eating alone in the dessert area. Mangosteen, the dress I'm wearing was a gift from eldest brother. I heard it was incredibly expensive.
I love it so much.
Do you think it looks pretty? Lin Rambutan twirled a few times in front of me, blatantly showing off. It was the exact same in my past life. She used this tactic to draw my aggro, and then painted herself as the weak, helpless victim. Before, I really did fall for her trap, and we had a massive, nasty fight. It caused the whole family, and even all the party guests, to scold me for being immature. This time around, I was too lazy to even entertain her nonsense. I just replied coolly, "It is beautiful. It suits you well. Are you feeling jealous?"
Not at all.
Eldest brother bought me plenty of pretty dresses in the past. Today is your birthday, so he bought you own. What is there to be jealous about? Checkmate.
I thought you would be upset.
I heard before that you used to cling to eldest brother the most. These past few days, eldest brother has been spending extra time with me to help me adapt to this house, so he kept me company a lot more.
I was worried you would be unhappy.
Thank goodness you are not. I totally misunderstood you.
You are not actually that dependent on him after all.
Right at that moment.
Eldest brother happened to roll his wheelchair over. Who knows what garbage Lin Rambutan had been feeding him these past few days, but he clearly had developed a strong protective instinct towards her. Seeing us alone together right now, he was terrified I would bully her, so he came over proactively. Lin Rambutan had obviously seen him approaching. Those words were deliberately said for his benefit. She just wanted to tell him that my feelings for him were not nearly as deep as hers. Did not Dad say that since you're new here and unfamiliar? We should all take extra care of you. Am I supposed to be as pushy and insatiable as you and constantly monopolize him? My words made Lin Rambutan look slightly embarrassed, but it only lasted for a single second. The very next moment, she immediately and shamelessly began to accuse me. Are you blaming me for monopolizing eldest brother? But you just explicitly said you did not care. With that, her tears began cascading down like they were completely free. Anyone who did not know better would think I had brutally attacked her. Seeing Lin Rambutan crying so intensely, my brother's voice darkened. What is going on here? It is nothing.
I will definitely be more mindful of boundaries in the future.
Please do not be mad, Mangosteen. Okay, I came to this house to join your family, not to tear you all apart. Even though it was my second time hearing this line, I still could not hold back my laughter. Just how utterly shameless does Lin Rambutan have to be? To spew such brazenly thick-skinned dialogue, seriously, we need better scriptwriters for these antagonists. Mangosteen, my eldest brother, Song Dragonfruit, stared at the mocking smirk on my lips, and his expression grew even darker. Without even asking for the full story, he immediately took Lin Rambutan's side. Rambutan just got here. She is unfamiliar with everything. Mom and second brother are already ignoring her. As her sister, can't you look after her a little more? Do you honestly think I should be taking care of her eldest brother? Should not you? You have been spoiled rotten by this family since you were little. You do not know the first thing about yielding to others. It is actually perfect timing. Now that Rambutan is here, you can finally learn how to properly interact with someone your own age. After saying that, me eldest brother prepared to lead Lin Rambutan away, leaving me hanging all alone in the banquet hall. Even though I had already lived through this once before, it still left a very bitter taste in my mouth. I held back my impulsive rage. After all, the best part of the show was yet to come. I simply watched my brother and Lin Rambutan get ready to leave. They barely took 2 steps when the pink dress on Lin Rambutan suddenly, with a loud tearing sound,
Ripped right open.
the back hem of the dress was very long, making it incredibly easy to step on. However, I absolutely did not step on it. It was Lin Rambutan who, while my brother was not looking, purposely stepped on and ruined her own outfit. The split second, my brother turned his head. She instantly hid her foot. Then, clutching her bodice which was sagging from the tear, she acted as if she was suffering a total mental breakdown. She could not help but interrogate me at the top of her lungs. Mangosteen.
How could you do this to me?
The little altercation I just had with Lin Rambutan had only been noticed by my brother, and possibly Dad. Dad came fully prepared tonight after all, but at this moment, thanks to Lin Rambutan's piercing scream, everyone in the hall was drawn right over to us. Lin Rambutan looked even more devastated, and completely mortified. My eldest brother hastily took off his suit jacket and handed it to her. Lin Rambutan snatched it up pitifully and wrapped it tightly around herself, looking like a frightened little bird, so utterly pitiful and endearing.
What happened?
Right on cue, Dad.
Strolled over.
Lin Rambutan trembled violently, acting as if in front of all these people, she did not dare to speak. Song Dragonfruit, what on earth is going on? Me eldest brother did not mince words, giving me absolutely zero face. He pinned the blame directly on me. Mangosteen stepped on Rambutan's dress and ripped it. Mangosteen,
How could you treat your sister like this?
it is her birthday today. Can't you put your overwhelming jealousy aside for once? She is 15 years old, and she has never had a decent birthday in her entire life. Never had a decent birthday.
So what were you celebrating birthdays with dogs every year instead? Oof, what a savage internal comeback.
Now, throughout the hall, a flurry of gossiping murmurs began to spread. Mangosteen really is spoiled rotten. How could she humiliate Lin Rambutan in public like that? regardless of anything else. Lynn Rambutan is part of their family now that she has entered their home.
How can Mangosteen be so domineering?
I heard that poor Lynn Rambutan has had such a tragic life. Mangosteen really lacks any shred of empathy. Everyone was pointing fingers at me. I could see Dad and Lynn Rambutan utterly failing to hide the smug smirks in their eyes. They genuinely thought their treacherous scheme was about to succeed. Without rushing or panicking, I began to broadcast my inner thoughts to my eldest brother. There is no point in me explaining anything now, is there? Even the eldest brother I love the most believes that I purposely stepped on Lynn Rambutan's dress. I watched my eldest brother freeze for a second. He was visibly bewildered. Why had not he seen my mouth move? Yet he was hearing my voice. Honestly, it does not matter if I am falsely accused, but I really can't stand seeing eldest brother kept completely in the dark by Dad. If eldest brother finds out Dad was the one who hired someone to smash his legs, would not he be absolutely devastated? After all, he loves Dad so much.
I do not want eldest brother to be sad.
My eldest brother sat in his wheelchair. I watched his expression drastically change. His hands tightly gripped the sides of his wheelchair. He was so furious that his entire body was trembling. Lynn Rambutan was standing very close to my eldest brother. She immediately sensed the shift in his mood. She could barely suppress the smirk creeping onto her lips. She genuinely thought my eldest brother was feeling indignant on her behalf, and that he was angry at me. Lynn Rambutan probably felt the time was perfectly ripe, and hastily spoke up. Mangosteen, if you really dislike me this much, I will just leave this house. Cue the dramatic victim act. Just being able to come to this family and enjoy this past month of happiness, having a dad, a mom, brothers, and a sister, I already feel incredibly blessed. I do not dare to ask for anything more, and I definitely do not want to make you unhappy, Mangosteen. The relatives and friends in the room immediately started blaming me again on her behalf. Mangosteen, you are just being far too immature right now. Rambutan is being so considerate of you. Why can't you just get along with her? Listen to me. Apologize to Rambutan.
Stop being so stubborn and willful.
Seeing so many people taking her side, Lynn Rambutan's confidence completely soared. She said, "Please, everyone, do not make things difficult for Mangosteen. I do not want her to be sad."
Right at that moment.
Is not the solution simple? An uncle interjected. Lynn Rambutan lacks a sense of security in this house. So give her some security. Give her some shares in the Song Corporation right now. Once she holds shares, who could possibly say she is not part of the Song family? The person speaking was technically a relative from Mom's side, but he had been bought off by Dad a long time ago.
I can't accept that.
No.
I absolutely cannot take it. Lynn Rambutan hurriedly declined, putting on an incredibly considerate yet terribly wronged expression. In my past life, these shares were actually given to her by Mom. Mom felt so bad for Lynn Rambutan that she gave her 10% of the company's shares. Dad then utilized his 20% combined with Lynn Rambutan's 10%, secretly acquired a few more shares from other stockholders, and became the largest shareholder of the Song Corporation. But this time, I saw Dad shift his gaze directly to my eldest brother.
You know the shares Dad holds?
Are just so I can better share the burden of work at the company for your mother.
Yeah, sure. Share the burden. What a saint.
Since you are temporarily recovering and do not need to go to work, why do not you give 10% to Lynn Rambutan first? Dad will figure out a way to make it up to you later. Dad said it as if it were the most natural thing in the world. What he did not realize, though, was that Mom and my second brother had just come downstairs. The servants must have gone up to report the commotion. Afraid I would be at a disadvantage, Mom and second brother had hurried down, so they were standing right there. Therefore, at this exact moment, the entire family heard my inner thoughts all at once. If eldest brother gives his shares to Lynn Rambutan, Dad will be one step closer to snatching away our entire family fortune. Actually, it is not that eldest brother's legs can't be cured. It is that Dad never actually put any effort into treating him. The doctors abroad were deliberately arranged by him.
I am so conflicted.
If I let them know Dad did all this just so he could marry his childhood sweetheart,
Won't this family be completely destroyed?
I watched the way my entire family looked at Dad, change completely and irrevocably. My eldest brother was so furious that literal steam seemed to be puffing out of his hair. At this moment, Lynn Rambutan was still purposely playing coy.
How could I possibly take eldest brother's shares?
Eldest brother.
Do not listen to Dad. I would not be so unreasonable. As she spoke, she even actively reached out to grab my brother's arm, trying to act cute and pitiful. As a result, the absolute second she touched him, there was a loud
thud.
She was violently and humiliatingly shoved straight to the floor by my eldest brother. Fatality. Dad was the first to react, staring in pure disbelief. Song Dragon Fruit, what on earth are you doing?
How could you treat Rambutan like this?
Did you take the wrong meds?
Heh, heh.
The look in my brother's eyes as he glared at Dad made it seem like he wanted to slice him into 1,000 pieces. I forced myself to stay calm, thinking to myself, we have security cameras in the house. All we have to do is play back the footage, and everyone will see whether Lin Rambutan is framing me or not. I saw my brother fiercely trying to restrain himself. Mrs. Wu, pull up the surveillance footage of the main hall from just now. Seeing that the situation was unsalvageable, Lin Rambutan hurriedly scrambled up from the floor. Since eldest brother does not welcome me either, and since this whole family does not welcome me, then I will just leave. Before you prove my sister's innocence, nobody is allowed to leave. Lin Rambutan did not dare utter another word. The surveillance footage was pulled up. Everyone saw it clear as day. Lin Rambutan deliberately stepped on and tore her own dress, and then played the victim and framed me first. Public opinion reversed instantly. If Lin Rambutan was not entirely drowned by the spit of the crowd at this moment, even with her incredibly thick skin, she was absolutely, utterly humiliated. Send her away. I never want to see her face again.
No, I won't leave.
Hearing that she was going to be sent away, Lin Rambutan completely lost it. I will never do it again. Please. Just give me one more chance. Mom did not even spare her a glance. Send her away. Do not let her dirty this house. Dad? I truly did not expect her to be such a fake, Dad said to Mom. I will send her away immediately. Please do not be mad. Mom let out a soft, icy scoff. Looking at Dad right now was like looking at a pathetic, dancing clown. Dad assumed Mom was just in a fit of anger, so he did not think too much of it. He dragged Lin Rambutan out and left. The very first thing he did upon returning was stand in front of all the guests and apologize to our entire family. Dad looked incredibly remorseful and played the innocent victim flawlessly. I had no idea Lin Rambutan was that kind of person. I was deceived by her too. I treated her so well. My feelings are so deeply hurt by this. The one hurt the most is Mangosteen. She was almost framed by Lin Rambutan.
Yes, 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 Dad quickly agreed.
Mangosteen is the most hurt. It is all Dad's fault. Dad apologizes to you, okay? Dad promises, I will never get soft-hearted and adopt another child ever again. You are Dad's own and only daughter. I wanted to puke, but I held it in. Since the damage has already been done, Mom cut in. Just a few comforting words shows zero sincerity. You should offer some substantial compensation. Then, Mangosteen, tell Dad.
What do you want?
I will satisfy any request. Anything at all I ask. Of course, when has Dad ever gone back on his word? He thought he could act just like he used to, that as long as he gave me a tiny piece of candy, he could buy my complete loyalty. I want the Song Corporation shares in Dad's hands. Checkmate. I watched Dad's complexion visibly curdle before my eyes. It took him quite a while before he stammered out. You are only 14. Shares are not of any practical use to you. But Dad just said he was going to give Lin Rambutan shares. Could it be that in Dad's heart, I am not even as important as Lin Rambutan? I asked him with a deeply wounded expression. It seemed like an offhand comment. Is Lin Rambutan actually your biological daughter? My shares are needed to help your mom at the company. There is no need. Song Dragonfruit just agreed to start going to work at the company. Song Dragonfruit is not... Dad stuttered. He was absolutely convinced my eldest brother would remain forever dispirited. I am the eldest son of this family. I should be shouldering the family's responsibilities. Dad gritted his teeth. He was clearly still unwilling, but he could not find a single excuse to refuse. Can Dad give me the shares now? You literally just said, you would agree to absolutely anything. I looked up at him with eager, wide eyes. There were so many people in the hall, and all the guests were staring right at him. If he refused, he would not be able to salvage his reputation at all. He clenched his jaw. Right now, he did not dare completely tear off his mask with our family. In his view, if he showed his true colors now, he would only walk away with his 20% shares. If he did not blow his cover, he still had a chance to turn the tables. He had spent so many years getting to this point.
How could he possibly give up now?
Fine. Dad agreed, though it clearly pained him deeply. Is Dad going to give me all the shares he holds? Giving you 10% is enough. That is exactly how much I asked your brother to give Lin Rambutan earlier. In Dad's heart, should not I be vastly more important than Lin Rambutan? Dad stood there speechless for a long time. He was obviously incredibly reluctant. Back when you took my shares, Mom said coldly, you repeatedly claimed you did not actually want them, and that they would ultimately be left to the children. Now we are just giving them to Mangosteen a little early. to mend her wounded heart, and suddenly you were unwilling. Mom had Dad completely cornered with no way out. With so many friends and relatives present, everyone was watching closely. Beads of sweat began rolling down Dad's forehead. The bystanders started whispering amongst themselves, as if anyone is truly that selfless. He just talked way too big before.
What a slap in the face.
If he truly treated his children as his own priority, why would he care about these shares? He is just selfish deep down. Everyone is selfish, standing in front of so many people. Dad ultimately could not afford to lose that much face. The very next moment, he suddenly feigned immense generosity. He said,
How could I possibly be unwilling?
I was merely considering whether I should also give 10% to Song Durian. Since Song Dragon Fruit and Mangosteen both have shares, Song Durian should not be left out. I do not need it. Just give it all to Mangosteen. Song Durian outright rejected him. Everyone knew exactly what Dad was plotting.
He thought my second brother would be the easiest to control.
He assumed my second brother's recent diligence was all just an act, and that it would not last more than a few days. Well, since Song Durian does not want it,
Then I will just give it to Mangosteen.
thank you, Dad. Mom did not waste a single second. She immediately called the company's lawyers over and had the share transfer documents signed right then and there.
Efficient queen.
Of course, as far as our whole family was concerned, this was still far from enough. In my previous life, he utterly ruined our family and caused our deaths. In this life, we obviously have to repay him double. After that, our family went back to normal, but it was glaringly obvious that Dad was starting to panic. He lost his shares and completely lost control over the company.
Mom,
And eldest brother went to work normally. My eldest brother even made time for his physical therapy. My second brother worked out like a maniac and studied relentlessly. I was still the absolute darling of the family. Our family was progressing in a better and better direction, completely defying what Dad had envisioned. He finally could not hold it in anymore. He used the excuse that a relative had an emergency back in his hometown and left. On the very night he left, he secretly rented a car and drove dozens of kilometers back to our villa, taking advantage of our entire family being asleep. He lit a fire and burned our villa to the ground. By the time property management discovered it, the massive blaze had already engulfed the entire building. Dad rushed back only after being notified the next day. As soon as he arrived, he dropped to his knees, weeping and wailing with heartbreaking agony. The onlookers could not help but feel immense sympathy for him and rushed forward to comfort him. Dad acted as if he could not hear them. He was completely, utterly devastated. If I had known, I would have stayed and gone with you all. His performance was incredibly convincing. No one saw the triumphant smile hidden deep in his eyes. Dad, I called out to him, standing right behind him. I saw Dad's entire body violently twitch. He thought he was having a hallucination. He whipped his head around and saw our whole family standing right behind him, completely safe and sound. He was so terrified he collapsed limply onto the floor. Have you all become ghosts? We are perfectly alive and well.
We went on a yacht trip yesterday.
And just got back.
You were not home.
nope.
Nope. Oh my, what happened to our house? Cue the innocent gasp. Dad's eyes started darting around frantically. He was desperately trying to keep his composure. A few days ago, I heard there were stray cats sneaking around at night, so I think I installed a few hidden cameras near the entrance. Let me just check the footage. Dad was absolutely horrified. He aggressively scrambled up from the ground, snatched my phone right out of my hands, and violently smashed it onto the concrete. Everyone stared at him in dead silence. As long as you're all safe, nothing else matters. As long as our family is whole. But it is going to be whole without you now.
What?
Honey, what are you saying?
Are not you intimately aware of what you have done yourself?
What are you talking about?
Dad was completely losing his mind, yet still refusing to admit to anything he had done. The footage of you setting the villa on fire last night, I have already handed it over to the police.
Look.
They are already here. Seeing the police, Dad turned tail and sprinted away. But how could he possibly outrun the cops? He was swiftly tackled and pinned to the ground in a couple of moves. Looking absolutely pathetic and miserable, he was handcuffed and taken away. From now on, I am going to properly enjoy the family warmth that I was robbed of in my past life. I sincerely hope that all the beauty in this world will always accompany you and me.